When the Ohio State Buckeyes stroll into East Lansing on Saturday, it will be their first time playing away from the shoe all season. It's quite unique considering it's week 6, and even though they're a near 4-touchdown favorite, Michigan State will be looking for its first win over OSU since 2015. That's why it's all about execution this week for Mel Tucker. Well, this week, it's no surprise that you guys are opening up as an underdog. You realize that you've already addressed it with your team this week, but go into more of the mindset. You brought up something that was very interesting in a sense of if you're looking for the easy bus isn't coming.
No, yeah, I mean, life is hard, and it's not ever going to get easier. And so embrace that, embrace the challenge. And do what you need to do, to get better, to improve, to move forward, to make progress each and every day. There's no easy pathway to success.
Ohio State is a team with a very dynamic quarterback in CJ Stroud. That's nothing new for you guys. The last couple of games you faced Michael Penix Jr., Tanner Morgan, Talia Tagovailoa. Now you're up against Stroud. What makes him so dynamic, and also with his 18 touchdowns that he's had this year, how much does that have to do with the players who are around him?
He has a great supporting cast, but he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, maybe the best. I think the thing that makes him special is that he's an accurate passer. Even though he's mobile, he can make plays with his legs, he's got really good players around him, he can make every throw, and he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And he's a high-level competitor. So that's what makes him so hard to defend, because there's very little margin for error defensively.
What makes them so dominant or different compared to any other teams that you have faced this year?
Well, obviously they're very well coached, and they're balanced, offense, defense, and special teams. And they have a lot of depth. They have really good players in all three phases, and they have difference makers. In order to be great, I believe you have to have at least 3 or 4 difference makers on each side of the ball, and they have those guys.
You sort of brought that up last year after the game at Ohio State. I actually asked you about what do you do to kind of close the gap in terms of getting to where that program is right now. You brought up recruiting. They're the only other program in the country other than Alabama who has a blue chip ratio of 80% or higher. How do you best prep for that?
It's really about us. We know they have really good players at every position, but for us it's about our execution, and that's where our focus needs to be. Obviously, we have a scouting report. We know what type of players they have. We know whatever tendencies they have. But we have to take care of ourselves first. We have to make sure we're in position to make plays. We have to make sure that we communicate, that we have attention to detail, that we play mistake-free football, and then we play one play at a time.
You always have different ways of giving your guys maybe an analogy or to think differently outside the box, maybe your staff or the players in general. Did you do anything last week that attributed to maybe thinking outside the box differently or breaking things down differently, where it attributed to some of the progress you had on the field?
Well, the emphasis last week from a coaching standpoint was to slow it down for the players, to be very detailed in our teaching, make sure that we're very clear, things are black and white, and that we don't skip any steps, we don't take anything for granted. So for example, I use the analogy of making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It seems like something that's very basic, but let's not assume that we know how to do that correctly. And so I had Amber, our football dietitian, stand up in front of our team in our morning meeting early in the week, and literally she made 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for our guys. It was good because there was technique, there were fundamentals, there was process, there was a rhyme and a reason. The delivery of information to players is important because you never know how a player will receive a message, and we do whatever we need to do to make sure that we get the point across.
How did you come up with that?
Hey, listen, it's football. Football can be a complicated game, but at its core, it's a simple game. Our job as coaches is to make something that's complicated, make it simple for the players. What's more streamlined and simple than making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? It just makes too much sense to me.
Did you have any of the guys physically make a sandwich, or did Amber just make it?
She made it in front of the group. She made one, and then I asked her to make another one. What we need to do is we need to do simple better. And when you talk about death by inches, lack of execution, it's a fine line between executing and not, winning a down and losing a down. And so the devil is in the details and doing simple better, blocking, tackling, discipline, angles of pursuit, communication, hand placement, all those things are what make the difference. And it's at the top where the best compete, like in the Big Ten, Power 5, success is measured in inches, literally.
Taking down the beast that is better known as the Buckeyes has been done before. In fact, the Spartans have topped Ohio State 10 times when they're ranked in the AP Top 25 and 7 when they're in the top 10. All right, football isn't the only sport taking place on campus this weekend. When we come back, we're going to pop on over to Munnice Arena.
Closed captioning sponsored by Hearing Life, helping Spartans love their ears. With 41 locations across Michigan, go to hearinglife.com to take a free online hearing test.